Hi, it's Richard Brolin here from Charterhouse Auctioneers, and we're going to have a bit of a run through some of the wonderful classic and vintage cars we've got coming up in our auction, being held over at the Haynes International Motor Museum on Thursday the 8th of June. Now, starting off here, this actually is lot number one in the sale. It's a 1986 Ford Fiesta XR2. It's a one-owner car from new. He did about 56,000 miles in it, and back in 2005 his son bought him a new Golf diesel and it just basically got put away. This has come in no reserve. It's a Somerset car, and it's going to be to see where that one ends up. Really, I think it's going to do very, very well. Also from a Somerset client this time, we've got three cars. We've got three little Austins. We've got the Austin 7 Ruby here. This is next up, followed by the Austin 7 Opal, and this is a car we sold quite a few years ago. And then finally, the big Austin 7. Now, all these three Austin 7s, they all come from the same Somerset Estate estate, and they're all needing a degree of recommissioning and restoration work, and all being off for sale without reserve. Now we have a Triumph GT6. For the sharp-eyed of you who watch all the videos, you see that we had one of these in our last classic car auction. It did very, very well indeed. And as a result, a client over in Wiltshire has instructed to sell this GT6 in white as well. It's manual overdrive and beautifully presented, and the value on that round about this sort of £11,000 to £12,000. Now we have the Morris Minor. I kind of feel that really no self-respecting provincial auction that sells classic cars should be without a Morris Minor, and this is probably the best I have ever seen. It was bought by a chap basically as to fiddle about with, to do up, to restore, sort of in between lockdowns, and what a fantastic job he's got. Now, if you're looking for the best, this is probably one of the contenders, and it's also estimated between sort of £18,000 and £20,000. Next up is another British car, but we're moving forward to 1996 now, and this time we've got a Rover 214i. Yes, it's it's a relatively inexpensive or poverty spec model. Then you're saying, what on earth are we doing looking at 214i Rover here, Richard? Well, this has done just over 1,800 miles from new. It's well documented. It's recently been recommissioned and serviced, had a new cam belt. It's basically ready to have as a daily driver, or to take maybe to the Festival of the Unexceptional, and the estimate on that round about the £5,000. Another British car, this time the wonderful MG V8. This is a 1939 car, and this was bought in sort of 2015, I think, as a complete basket case project. The owner, he enjoys doing the restoration work rather than driving them, and this has had absolutely everything done to it, with the exception of the interior, which he left in its original condition. The client, he's done most of the work himself, apart from the engine rebuild and the paintwork, and this is estimated around about the £10,000. For a little more money, we can move more towards the 1960s, and we've got the 1965. We've got the Daimler Dart, the SP250. This is the C-spec car, and this is we found this over in a garage up in Wales. This has not been on the road for some time. The petrol tank was completely devoid of any fumes or vapours at all. But an interesting car here, valued around about the £15,000. As you can see, we've got plenty of British cars in the sale. And again, this time we've got the Jaguar, the 4.2 fixed head coupe 1970. So this is the same year as the Morris Minor we've just talked about. The difference being this is beautifully restored, just like the Morris Minor, but it's a little bit more dearer, estimated around about the £65,000. And this is restored 3 or 4 years ago and hasn't been driven since then, and will probably need some commissioning work and fettling before it takes the road. Now we're off abroad, we're off to Italy now, little baby 500F. This is actually one of a brace of Fiat 500Fs we got on the same auction. This is the left-hand drive one, here we're in the white. The other one is known as Frankie, and he's in blue. And they're both estimated around about £10,000, and both in beautiful restored condition. To the polar opposite now, the Fiat 500, we've got a whopping great big Ford Galaxy. The Galaxy 500, it's a tri-power car, is restored out in America. It's recently done the Mendit run, certainly puts a smile on the owner's face. Huge V8 engine in it, makes a lot of sound, and is said to drive very, very well. Back to Blighty now, back to these shores. We've got a Bentley with another big engine in it. Here we go. And with the V8, with the Tiptronic 7-speed automatic gearbox, and this is one of two cars from a client who's basically he's given up driving. He had a bit of a frightening time in his Range Rover when someone threw a brick off off a bridge when he's going on the motorway, so he's decided to part with his Bentley. Also, the next car, this is his. This is the Jaguar. It's a 3.8. It's a Mark II. It's an automatic, again previously restored, and this one's been out to South Africa and back. And the value on the Bentley around about the 17 to 20,000 pounds, and a similar sort of figure for the Jag Mark II 3.8. Also a car that's been from further afield. This one is the VW. It's the 21 window Samba Bus, left-hand drive, fully restored. This was found in a chateau barn many years ago, fully restored, and a value on this around about the 45 to 50,000 pounds. Another car that's travelled far and wide in its life. This is the Land Rover. It's a 1950 lights behind grille. This was originally exported to Australia. It's come back and has been beautifully restored, basically using only Land Rover parts where applicable, and the value on that around about the 33 to 36,000 pounds. Another great British car here, the Albus, the TA21. This is a tick-foot bodied one. I think they made about 303. This is beautifully maintained. We've never seen any sort of work done to it whatsoever. It's been picked up by Red Triangle, Albus specialists, and the value on that, the owner's not really driving it these days. He had it restored primarily for his son's wedding a few years ago, and the value on that between sort of 27 and 30,000 pounds. And now just to end up now, the couple more British cars. Here we go. They're all interesting. This is the TVR. This is a one owner car, the 350i. It's done less than 20,000 miles. Sounded wonderful on startup. Value that between 15 and 20,000 pounds. And now from a deceased estate, we've got another maroon coloured car, another convertible just like the TVR, and this is a 325i. Yes, that's the one you like. Sadly, from a deceased estate, he bought it back in 1998, and the value on that round about the sort of 7,000 pounds. And just to end up now, possibly one of the rarest cars in the auction is the Mini pickup. Beautiful restoration, took several years to restore to a particularly high standard, and sadly the owners had to give up driving on this one as well, and this is estimated at between sort of 10 and 15,000 pounds. So this is a bit of a quick little walk and talk through the cars. We've got over 50 classic and vintage cars in the auction, and hopefully we'll see you at the sale.